on Albemarle County home value escalation appreciation on today's show, including some slides, I do believe. Is that right? Or is it one slide, Judah?
Just one slide for today.
One slide. Fantastic. And you have that ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
Excellent. So we'll talk Albemarle County, single-family detached and attached homes, existing and new construction, year-end 2023 versus the first 2 months of 2024, and put in perspective the increase in values we're seeing in the largest county in Central Virginia, population-wise. Is it the largest county by square miles as well?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know if I know that.
What would rival it in Central Virginia?
As far as size goes?
Yeah.
Or people?
Well, it's definitely people-wise, population-wise, no question about it. But square miles-wise,
I don't know. That's something that...
I would say it's the largest, wouldn't you?
Oh, of our footprint?
In Central Virginia.
6 jurisdictions? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. That's something for Google. We'll ask the Google.
The only one that could potentially rival it, I would say, is Louisa, and I still think Albemarle County is larger than Louisa.
Yeah, the thing about Louisa, though, is Louisa goes all the way over, quite a bit.
Let's see, Louisa County, Virginia, square miles. What do we think it is? 495 square miles for Louisa County.
What's Albemarle County?
Albemarle County, I believe, is over 700. Albemarle County is 726. So Albemarle County, the largest by square miles.
Sure.
J-Dubs, we can rock and roll when you're ready over there. Judah Wickower making some moves.
All right, quiet on the set.
Wow, look at that. Got his mic, I know.
I like that shirt he's wearing, too, today.
Looking sharp.
Does he have a camera on him?
Did we have a costume for the sidekick for Beanie today?
Got a great shirt.
We do. Oh, fantastic. The great Giardini and his sidekick Bubini are coming out today. People seem to love him. We got a lot of positive praise for
Let me get this
Bubini.
straight. You want me to help him?
His nickname is Bubini.
Bubini? All right, we got it.
Guys, welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. It's a Wednesday in downtown Charlottesville. It's a pleasure to connect with you. A show presented by Yes Realty Partners. Firm and team you can count on, Yes Realty Partners. Keith and Yona Smith's shop, they are growing, they are booming, and they do it the right way, the honest way, the character-driven way. Judah Wickower, the director of the program, will go to the studio camera. We'll welcome the star of the show, Keith Smith.
Clearly, you're talking about Yona.
I'm talking about you and Yona.
There you go.
You and Yona.
Bubini. Where did this Bubini thing come from? I'm sorry, folks, but I where did the hell did that come
on
from?
the I Love Seville show, it kind of went viral last week. We started looking into the crystal balls that we have on set. And we have costumes that we've brought out as well.
Yeah.
And the great Giardini needs a sidekick, and his sidekick is Bubini. We rolled it out on, I think, was it last Tuesday? The response was significant, and evidently Bubini and Giardini will replace Jerry and Judah today on the I Love Seville show.
Oh, do I get some mention on the crystal ball ownership?
You did.
Oh,
you did
right.
get mentioned.
I think I ought to start watching the noon show.
The crystal balls have been collecting dust for months on the sets.
What did you
here.
say about the balls?
So we decided to put them into action.
There you go. You're right.
Yeah.
We do have them. We have. You got the wands and everything.
We got the wands.
Look at that, huh?
Balls.
I got to start paying attention.
We
to
brought
to the noon show.
It went viral.
Viral. What exactly does that mean?
It means a lot of people watched it.
There you go.
A lot of people watched it and engaged with us. Stephanie Wells Rhodes, welcome to the broadcast. She says, good morning. Cameron Wells Marsh, her sister.
Good
Interstate
morning.
Service Company, Home's best friend.
Home's best friend. And you know what? Inventory's picking up a little bit. We're at 64. And if anybody wants to go ahead and do a little work to the house before they get it on the market, give ISC a phone call.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to kick off a little bit today, I cheated a little bit, Judah, so we're going to call it slide 1A because I just didn't feel like rescheduling all the other, renumbering all the rest of the slides. But what we're looking at here today is I wanted to take a quick look at what the housing market was doing from a snapshot perspective of Albemarle County, right?
Oh, yeah.
So single family attached and detached, and also wanted to take a quick look at what it was looking like for... I got my notes here. Hang on a second. For new construction versus existing. So very simple kind of chart here. Existing sales the end of, thank you, Judah. Existing sales the end of 23. The median sales price for single-family detached was 600. It is now at the first 2 months 622, so that's about a 3.5% jump. New construction, we've been talking about this for a while, had a pretty large jump. The end of 23, the median sales price was 781. It is now up to 827, and that's a 5.5% jump. The same thing is happening pretty much with the single-family attached, except the existing has dropped in value. That went down, actually, from 389 in 23, the end of 23, and to the end of the first 2 months of this year, which is January and February. That's at 365, which was a negative 6%. New construction grew a little bit, just a skosh over 1%.
A skosh.
A skosh.
I like that.
A smidge over 1.1%. So, we try to keep track on this for folks, and just wanted to kick the show off with that and see if anybody had any thoughts, and maybe we can talk a little bit about the awesomeness we're going to have on Friday.
Values continue to increase in Albemarle County.
They are increasing.
In 2 months, they increased 3.5%.
As far as single-family detached homes are concerned, they increased 3.5%, 3.5%.
In the first 2 months of the year.
First 2 months of the year.
And in an escalating rate environment.
So that's an interesting comment, because most of these ones either went under contract in December or went into contract in January, right? So December's closed in January, the January's closed in February. As a rule, right? It doesn't mean that some of them didn't stretch out more than 30 days on it, but at the end of the day, we were back over 7 and certain over 7, so I don't think interest rates are making a difference. I did not look at what was the cash versus the lending, and I might be able to do that real quickly while you...
Well, we've kind of highlighted the cash buyer, is the cash buyer still prevalent? Are they cycling out?
Well, that's what I wanted to take a look at. I didn't have time to do that this morning, right? I wanted to see if the last 2 months in Albemarle County that where was the cash layout. So if you give me a second and chat a little bit, I'm going to do that for you.
Vanessa Parkhill, welcome to the broadcast. Thank
Happy
you kindly
belated birthday, Vanessa.
for watching the program. The Queen of Earlysville, Mr. DL, hello. Hillary Lewis Murray, hello. Janice Boyce Trevelyan, hello, and welcome to the broadcast. Woody Fincham, watching the show. The Appraiser, thank you kindly for watching the show. Nate Kibler, watching the program. Thank you kindly for watching. Michael Blevins, the restaurateur on the feed, a number of real estate investors, and a number of agents watching the broadcast right now. Logan Wells Kalelo, hello, thank you kindly for watching the show. We're talking Albemarle County, and in the first 2 months, in the car footprint, well, I guess the county specifically, Albemarle, we've seen a 3.5% uptick in value.
And we were talking
just
about
2 months, folks.
This is too much. I haven't had a chance to take a deep dive into this, but this is actually a pretty large jump on the average, right? So the average, it jumped from $765,000 in the end of 23, and it now has a 1 in front of it. It is over $1 million. The average sales price in Albemarle County for the first 2 months of 2024 is $1,034,000. So I didn't get a chance to do the math difference, but last year it ended at 765, the average, I apologize, the average, and right now we're at $1,034,000. So let's take a look at what was actually cash here, folks.
And it's important to emphasize this, that we've highlighted reasons why the population is going to uptick locally. Values are not going to go down.
No.
The interest rate environment is not impacting values, and we've highlighted a number of reasons why the population is going to uptick, many of those tied to the University of Virginia or the Amazon investment in Louisa, the Northrop Grumman investment in Waynesboro. Folks, the population increases, values will continue to go up because the population that's coming here is an affluent one. So that's important to highlight right there. Haiti Rather, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you kindly for joining us. I see some folks over at Ness watching Keith Smith here on Real Talk with
Hey,
Keith Smith.
thank you. Right now, Keith Smith's trying to do some quick math here. You know how Keith is on his math.
I believe he's navigating. Is it Paragon you're navigating right
I'm now navigating a spreadsheet.
He's
trying to see because we had 72 sales, and 30 of those 72 sales were cash. So I'm trying to do some quick math to figure out what the percentage difference on that is. It's considerably over 30%. I can tell you that much on it. I couldn't do that quickly and chat at the same time. You know, it's a one marble guy doing a two marble job.
This comment's come in from Jennifer, who's watching the
Thank
program,
you.
and Jennifer's watching in Crozet. We've all noticed more listings come on the market.
Yeah. So listings are growing. We've been tracking that for a while. Hold on one second, please. So we're up around 64, right? Pendings are at 80. So pendings for the last couple of days. So this is a 7-day snapshot. I've been tracking it for the last couple of days. We're flirting between 80 to 90 pendings and somewhere between 60 and 70 new actives coming on. So the spring market has sprung. We kind of been talking about that for a while. But, you know, look, when you've got an average sales price of $1,034,000 this is not new construction, folks. This is just existing homes on it. You know, I don't think 7% is really impacting it that much. But when you have a
Fed Chair Powell just said rates aren't going to cut anytime soon.
no, it's only,
Kevin Yancey watching in Waynesboro.
Hey,
Feed's
Kevin.
blowing up. Go ahead, Keith Smith.
Yeah, so, you know, it looks like cash is creeping back in. I think what happens when the interest rates start climbing, cash starts creeping back into the market. I haven't had a chance to do the percentage difference real quick, but, you know, if half of 72, you know, so this is well north of 40% of the sales were, in the first 2 months, were cash. So cash is kind of creeping itself back in. I can tell you there's a couple transactions we're doing right now that are cash. So that's creeping itself back in. So I think when these interest rates stay high, you're going to see more cash impacting the market, in my opinion. But it's not slowing things down, folks.
Donna Patton, Patty Rowe, welcome
Donna.
to the broadcast. Thank you kindly for joining us, ladies, on the show. We
Thank you
appreciate
for all you do, Donna.
If there's any comments you'd like to see highlighted, put them in the feed. Neil Williamson watching the program right now, the president of the Free Enterprise Forum. Juan Sarmiento, I believe he's watching on a cruise right now.
Ooh,
Brent Lillard, welcome to the show.
go have a cocktail or something, man.
I think he's on a spring break himself right now.
Oh, good for him.
This question's come in the feed right now from North Downtown, a viewer that watches all our shows and is very much appreciated. Grayson says this: does he expect price cuts on the horizon?
We have to define price cuts.
Just saw one in Whittington today.
Yeah. I don't call them price cuts. I call them price reductions. Want to debate this?
Oh, God. The realtor.
Well, so there's... The question is...
Are they not adjustments, massaging, cuts, reductions?
So we got two sides of the coin here, right?
Okay.
Right. So we just went over, I mean, these are factual, right? We know what the houses are selling for, and we know that the average median sales price is now over $1 million. Excuse me, the average sales price is over $1 million. The median is over 622. Maybe it was a little strong going in at the first time, and maybe that's not really what the market price was on some of these price changes. To that point, though, there in the car footprint, which I'm looking at in my trusty market monitor, there was 54 price changes, right? So there was 54 homes or 54 listings in the last 7 days that have changed their prices. Does that mean values are decreasing, or people are just adjusting their prices of what they want for their home? That's the question. And the question is they may have went in a little strong, and they're now adjusting it over time. When the market is telling them, okay, you're a little overpriced, right? Because we haven't sold it yet, or it's been sticky on the market for a certain period of time. Or there's some other thing, right? The features and the conditions don't quite match up. to what it is. So I want to be careful to say there may be some 54 price changes, but that's not saying, we just proved, median sales price went up 3.5%.
Going up.
Yeah. So maybe the market hasn't quite caught up to what of these price adjustments are.
Kevin Yancey makes the point.
Did I dance around that?
You danced around that. I think the viewers and listeners realize that. Kevin Yancey makes this point. From 2020 to 2023, to buy a home, the buyer now needs to make $47,000 more per year.
That's exactly right.
$47,000 more per year.
That's exactly right. The back on that other thing, the fact that prices are reducing does not mean values are decreasing. And that's the point I was trying to make, right? That they may be adjusting the prices, but values are not going down, values are going up. Except if you own
An attached home.
An attached home. That's actually going down in value.
Right.
That went down negative 6%. So that dropped 6%. So we are now an attached home, existing attached home in the county of Albemarle is median sales price is $365. The end of the year was $389. That's a negative $24,000, negative 6%. And why is that?
What do you think that is?
They're buying new construction. That's why. And they're buying new construction at an upper price of, we ended 460 last year and we're at 466. So it's climbing new construction on it, but it's not climbing at a huge rate. It's
Jesse Rutherford, welcome to the broadcast. Board of Supervisor in Nelson County. On Friday's edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith, Keith has Ned Galloway and Diantha McKeel of the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. I would imagine you will relay this data to them.
Yeah, so I'm about ready to hit the send button and send that and the other 9 slides that I did this morning for Albemarle County. So we're going to talk about that. I love our little political roundtables.
Fridays are great.
I love it. Not that I don't love spending time with you. I do. But this is going to be, okay, this is our largest jurisdiction, and let's hear from the elected officials on what's going on in Albemarle County from their perspective and what's going on with housing values and the developer incentives. Diantha, I know, always likes to talk about transportation, so I'm looking forward to having a transportation discussion with her. So I'm excited about it. It's
Michael Guthrie, welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, Michael,
Thank you kindly for watching the program. The agent's out on Real Talk with Keith Smith right now to watch the distinguished Keith Smith on his namesake talk show. This comment's come in from Thomas. Can he give us a snapshot on Charlottesville?
Oh, that's a great question. I did not do Charlottesville with me, but I did not do the first 2 months. I'm kind of prepping for Friday's meeting, but if we can chat a little.
Would you imagine the values have also upticked on?
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair assessment on if values have upticked. I can go ahead and do this. I think the volume of sales are still staying a little light in the city of Charlottesville. So what do we want to look at? Do we want to look at detached or condos or attached?
Let's go single-family detached, existing, no new construction. That's the great barometer.
Leveler.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to highlight this for the buyers that are out there. Now's the time to buy.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get more competition if you're a buyer in today's market. You're going to have more competition the longer you wait because rates are going to drop. And as rates drop, the demand and what you can purchase is going to increase. There's going to be more competition as rates drop, as this year matures. I also want to highlight this. The population, as the year continues to increase, will continue to uptick. And that's also going to create more buyer competition. So if you're on the fence or you're considering buying, now is the time to purchase a home in Albemarle County, in Charlottesville, or in Central Virginia. The opportunity is there. And I follow it as closely as anyone here.
You know what? You follow this more closely than I do sometimes.
I follow it extremely closely. Comments continue to come in.
Sure. Let me give you some Charlottesville
to the program.
Stuff.
Okay, Charlottesville.
Some stuff real quick.
Andre Xavier, welcome to the broadcast.
So that is interesting. I need to dig into it a little bit more. But the median sales price, and I'm just looking at that real quick, first 2 months of this year, sales price, the median sales price was 510. Excuse me, apologize, 550. Doing this on the fly, guys. 550. Last year was 510. So we're up 40 grand. So that's the short answer. I was looking at volume. The volume is still kind of low. The number of sales are not that phonetic. Did I do that right?
I think he did that right. He's looking over to the wordsmith,
Look at
Judah
that, look at
Wickhauer.
that,
Judah
look at
Wickhauer
that.
gives him a
Yes.
nod right there.
So, look, the bottom line, everything is going up. To your point about, we've always talked about this. The right time to buy is always now, if you can do it, if you can afford it. Right time to sell maybe is now.
I want to put this in perspective. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, we're going to in October of last year, or we're going to wait till rates drop. We're going to wait." Guys, from October to now, look at what he's talking about: increased in values.
No. The end of the year.
I know, in the last 2 months. I mean, so think about October to now; it's even more.
If you were looking to buy.
The prices aren't going down. You buy now. They're not dropping.
If you were looking to buy a median-priced home in the county of Albemarle County, and you decided to wait to the first of the year or wait for these first 2 months to do it or write a contract in December.
You're looking at $40,000, $50,000 more expensive.
That's about $22,000.
Yeah.
You've spent 3.5. You're spending 3.5% more on it. And we're going to track this, right? But I wanted to really prepare for Friday, and that's what I spent a lot of time on this morning because, Ned and Diantha I've got too much respect for them not to be fully prepared for the conversation. But but the numbers are: if you got single family attached and you've got an existing and you want to sell it, you better price that right. You got to price everything right. Pricing, back to the price changes, Jerry. Pricing matters, right? And just a little shout out to Woody Fincham,
Fincham and Associates.
And if you have a concern about the value of your home, reach out to him and have him do an appraisal for you. It's probably the best money you'll spend, right? Because though there are a lot of cash in the market right now, there's generally, unless it's cash, there's 3 entities that are required to make a transaction happen, right? There's the buyer, there's the seller, and there's the bank. And Woody and the appraiser is the one that sets the value for the bank. So, get an appraisal. If you think that your house is worth more or less or whatever than maybe your real estate agent is talking to you about, it's a really good investment to spend whatever Woody is charging to go ahead and do this. So I'd reach out to him.
Joe McHale, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you kindly for joining us on the show. Ellie Tucker, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ellie, how you doing?
We appreciate when you watch the program. This comment, Ricardo Cruz Duran, welcome to the broadcast. This comment's come in. Jerry and Keith, I watch Real Talk on the regular. You guys have continued to emphasize that there's no real estate bubble on the horizon, and I've passed this along to anyone who will listen when real estate comes up. Still, there's folks in this community, in my neighborhood, and at parties I go to that think a bubble is very real.
But why is that?
I don't understand why people would think that either.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
You have population increase, you have rates going to cut, and you have a coveted area where people want to move to. There is no bubble on the horizon, people.
Yeah, and
Get over this bubble comment.
It's
not going to happen.
When people bring that up to me, I immediately ask.
Do you hear it too?
Oh yeah, sure, still do.
It's just folks that do not understand basic economics.
There's 2 things you hear a lot of right now: bubble and foreclosures. And just to put the foreclosure number in I don't have it in front of me, but
it's a minuscule number.
In general,
not impacting the market.
If it does impact the market, it impacts the market in a positive way
Because it's more inventory.
because there's more inventory.
Yeah.
Right. We're not in a 2008, 9, and 10, but maybe to help answer the question of why this isn't a bubble. Back in 2008, 9, and 10, or now the bubble obviously implies that it happened before it popped in the time of great unpleasantness. But like 2008, 9, and 10, and somebody can Google this and fact check me on it, but it was roughly around 2 million foreclosures a year. That's a huge number. Right now, it's like somewhere around 300,000. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's proportionately way off. And if you know, God forbid, we would never wish this on anybody. Somebody who's went through this in the time of great unpleasantness, I know how this feels. It's not very pleasant. If you, I know that, I'm working on it. If you feel like you need some help, reach out. Reach out to me, reach out to Yona, reach out to Bill Tucker, whoever, a trusted advisor. There are options for you, but because there's no going back once it starts. There's no going back. Once that foreclosure process starts, there's no going back. So reach out. You have options right now. You did not have them in 2008, 9, and 10.
Good morning, Johnny Ornalis.
Hey, Johnny, how you doing,
He's
bro?
watching the program. He says good morning. I respond good morning to him. I want to highlight the bubble conversation yet again. It's not going to happen.
I would
Population
love
increases.
somebody who really feels that to come join us. I really want to understand.
I don't understand the mindset.
I
We've
want-
explained it for years.
I understand that, but they believe it, and why do they believe it? And
I think they don't. I think they want it
oh, well, that's a different story.
instead of actually believing it for an opportunity to get pricing that's more attractive. The reality is, we studied the data from Weldon Cooper. The Weldon Cooper Institute indicates the population's increasing. We know the population that's coming is coming with bags of money. We know it's a coveted area to live. We know rates eventually will be cut. Yes, Powell is saying right now that rates won't be cut in the short term,
I'm just
but
looking
they
at
will
what the
be
rates are
cut
right now.
eventually. Powell literally on CNBC in the studio right now. It's not going to happen, this bubble concept.
So right now, according to HouseWire National, the 30-year conforming is at 7.16. 15-year conforming is at 6.55. That's up 0.01%. The jumbo, believe it or not, is down. The jumbo is 7.08. That's negative 0.12. So if you are in the jumbo space, you're actually spending...
Was that 760 and above?
760 something, if I believe. And the 30-year FHA is at 675. So right now, that's your, from a rate perspective, your best opportunity out there.
This according to Morningstar. I follow Morningstar
Yeah.
very closely. Their forecast for the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate. At the end of 2024, they have it at 6.5%. At 2025, at 5%. 2026, 4.5%. 2027, 4.25%. 2028, their forecast is 4.25%.
Do me
If
a
you
favor.
wait, values will increase while rates will drop, and you will have more competition.
Get out the crystal ball, because that's
Yeah.
about,
I mean, they are all of them are crystal ball. Yeah.
But what's in front of us right now is these rates. And these rates are in front of us, and these rates, and I can take a look at the trends going backwards, but when these homes were under contract, that was the rates. And people are buying. They're putting a little bit more cash down, right? But, rates are not impacting. I just really, really would love somebody to explain from a rational perspective why they think there's a bubble. And maybe I'm wrong, but the reality of it is there's 20 feet of pool of buyers and 3 feet of pool of inventory. And until that 20-foot pool of buyers gets closer to 3 feet, they're value is just going to keep on going up.
Rebecca, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Bobby Yarborough, we appreciate the King of Redfields watching the show. Georgia Gilmer, Lisa Costello, thank you kindly for watching the program. This question's come in, and then we'll get to McChesney on McIntyre Road. This question's come
Hey,
in
Bill.
from Tom. He says, for Keith, has he seen any movement with upzoning influencing Charlottesville listings, prices, or anything of any capacity? One shot, Keith, if you could there, J-Dubs.
So
He's about to drop some knowledge, no pressure.
yeah. So where'd you get the pizza from?
I got the pizza from Vita Nova. It's going to be lunch today. Judah's got some lunch courtesy of the Miller family today.
So it is starting to creep its way into the market.
Ooh.
So what we're talking about, well, let's talk about what the market means. So it is starting to creep its way into the market. There are listings, and we've highlighted a couple of them that are been put on the market anticipating upzoning or anticipating.
We recently highlighted the $1 million listing in Lewis Mountain.
But-
the agent reached out to me via DM looking to come on the show.
Yep, and I've had conversations with the young man separately.
Luke Cole.
Yeah, he's a fine young man. He's pretty outstanding individual. I'm very happy to have a conversation with him and know him. But here's what's really going on. What's really going on is a lot of conversation. And you have a lot of people. I was in meetings all day yesterday, everything from nonprofit organizations to for-profit organizations, and everybody's trying to figure out how to implement this and how it's going to work and how we're going to get from the fact, I actually took it out of my book bag, I got the 400 pages of zoning and actually get to implement it on the ground. It's going to be a long time, and it's going to take a lot of people with some vision and dollars willing to go ahead and give it a shot on it. And because the jurisdictions or the staff, nobody really knows how this is going to get implemented. They understand it, right? There's rules and regulations and how to go and do this. But until the first couple of projects are actually gone through the system, you never buy the first car, right, that comes out. Through that, it's going to take a while to go ahead and flush through exactly how to do this. It's a prime example. I was looking at a piece of property for a client. By the book, you could put 6 units on it. It actually was a land trust I was looking at it for. But in reality, you only could fit 3 on there. So the price point of what they want, the demo work, the engineering, because it's over 2 now, I've got to do a full set of site plans and everything on it. So that cost is in it. The time is in it. The math just didn't work. We just couldn't raise enough subsidy to go ahead and do that because the delta was so wide between what it's going to cost us, go through the process, develop it, hold it for a period of time while we go through this process, build it and sell it. It's just a huge delta between the two.
Bill McChesney on McIntyre Road, upzoning specifically. He says upzoning anticipation has already affected market speculation.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually translated into sales yet.
I don't think it's translated to sales. I think it's
But
translated into listings.
Yeah, because certain people now think, okay, let's test the waters and see what the market tells us, right?
And or the impact it has on quality of life for neighborhood, potentially.
It's twofold, right? 100% right. But what's happening right now is either one of those scenarios or other scenarios that we haven't even talked about yet.
I don't think it's translated into additional beds or doors.
But they're so far out. Jerry, we'll be talking about this next year.
And still no impact.
Well, there'll be an impact, but it won't be a large impact because this just takes a while to vet through. Right? There's also a little thing called a lawsuit that's going on, right?
City's looking to have that dismissed.
Yep, but you never know how those things go on it. But at the end of the day, and I'm thankful we learned on Neil on Friday, was it Friday? Yeah, Friday.
Yep. President of the Free Enterprise Forum watching the program right now.
That the city council decided to change its implementation date. If you had a plan in prior to the implementation date, the old rules are applied to you, which I think was a smart move, in my opinion. But look, it's going to be a long, drawn out. We're going to be talking about this nonstop for our new year of being together on Real Talk, and we'll just start picking it apart and bring in experts in. I want to bring in somebody like Justin Schimpf or Kelsey Schlein from Schimpf Engineering. These are land planners. These are folks that are in meetings every day trying to figure out how to actually implement the 400 pages of documentation.
Mr. McChesney says, no bubble, but folks will be moving out or selling their homes within city limits because the taxes continue to increase. I'm going to highlight this. Sam Sanders presented his budget to City Council yesterday. And ladies and gentlemen, they're asking for an increase in the real estate tax rate. And the real estate tax rate, the increase from the city manager is from 96 cents for $100 owed to 98 cents per $100 owed. He's also looking at an increase in the sales tax, an increase in the lodging tax, tax increases across the board. I was taken aback by a real estate tax rate increase when over the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen assessed values spike through the roof. This is literally expediting gentrification in the city of Charlottesville.
Well, it makes it difficult for somebody to pay their tax bill. So while you were chatting, I just took a quick look at the number of units, total number of units of homes that sold, that this is attached, detached, and condos in the city of Charlottesville for the first 2 months of this year versus last year. And it's right on par. It's literally the same number. 37 units homes were sold the first 2 months of 23 versus the first 2 months of 24. Now, keep in mind, 23, the total volume of sales in 23, the last time we seen it that low was back in 2011. So we're not, upticking. We're kind of on track to the volume of sales that we had in Charlottesville, at least a 2-month snapshot, than we were this time last year. So the Bill's comment, I don't see the volume of sales in this. I think in the city of Charlottesville upticking much. You're going to see it in some of the other jurisdictions.
Sam Sanders, the city manager, says this yesterday, quote, at this time, the lodging tax rate would increase from 8% to 9%. The sales tax rate would go from 6.5% to 7.5%, and the real estate tax rate would go from 96 cents on the dollar to 98 cents on the dollar. That's for fiscal year 2025 budget.
Yeah, and assuming that gets adopted, right, because there's a whole bunch of horse trading that has to go through on that. We know it, so the three-sided triangle, right? We know what the appraised values are, right, because that's already been set. Right now they're looking at setting the cents, right? The 98 cents. Or
the
whatever,
tax rate.
The tax rate. And now the big thing is, as Ned will say on Friday, I'm sure.
There's not going to be a cut in spending, he said.
Well, always watch the budget, right? If you watch the, quote Ned, if you watch the budget, then you'll know how your elected officials going to vote.
City schools are asking for an additional $9 million in funding.
Yeah.
Sam Sanders told the superintendent and council he recommends $7 million in incremental funding allocation to city schools.
Yeah, so this is, for those of us that are geeks in this stuff, which I put myself in that box, this is kind of the exciting time of the year from the local politics perspective, because you really start figuring out how they're going to govern through the rest of the year. Right, so this process, depending on the jurisdiction, starts as early as November, right? This whole budget, quote unquote, budget process. And the other little caveat that we don't know yet here is, exactly how much, and that may have happened already, I may be a little behind the times on that, how much money's coming from the state, right? From the state budgets. on that. So this is usually a dance that they go ahead and play. But at
Multiple folks putting in the fee. Do they know we're having a hard time paying our real estate tax bills right now?
Yeah, I can't speak for Albemarle. I can speak for Fluvanna County because I live there, and I've said this on the show many a time. My cash value, what I pay, equals to a house that sold last year in Glenmore. So I pay roughly $4,200 a year in taxes, and there was a house in Glenmore that was
What's your total tax payment a year?
$4,200.
$4,200.
And there was a house in Glenmore that kind of had the same features that I had. Wasn't the same acreage, but I was also not 30 minutes away from town. I was 10 minutes away from where we're sitting at the moment. Was the same amount of money, $4,200.
This
I get a little
comment-
bit of a break this year, though. This year, I think I'm going to stay flat.
Oh, you're in an off year.
We're in an off year. And what that means, folks, is we're not doing...
They do the assessments every 2 years in Fluvanna.
Correct. And well, it used to, a lot of people don't know that. They didn't do it. There was a period of time they'd do it every 5 years.
Ooh, how could that even be accurate?
It wasn't.
Yeah. Especially with what we're seeing from COVID.
So right now, based on our Fluvanna friends, it looks like, based on the politics that I'm following, that it looks like we're going to stay pretty flat this year. So hopefully my home does not go up. But, you know, we're fortunate. But the folks like my mom and dad and folks that are on fixed
I mean, Mr.
income,
McChesney's putting on the feed right
Yeah.
now. Screw that. I mean, he said phooey. He's retired on fixed income.
Absolutely. And so what do you want to do? Do you want to drive somebody like Bill out, that's contributing to the community, has been for decades, for what? So is that what we want to do? Is that who we want to be? These are tough questions.
Counselor Snook, welcome to the show.
Hey, Lloyd, how you doing today?
Kevin Yancey makes this comment. Do you think commercial investors would have to liquidate some holdings? Or do we think that the commercial side is safe around here?
Wow.
I think the commercial side is safe around here, ladies and gentlemen. And I think investors are safe around here as well.
I'm going to disagree with you.
I look around. There's not much.
No, I know that. I know that. But what I think is about ready to come down the pike is if that doesn't go down,
Yeah.
there are loans there that are in their 5th or 7th year that they're going to reset. And if they were at a 2 or 3%, I'm just saying that this is some of the conversation I'm having with commercial owners. If they don't reset or figure out how to refinance their, because you don't get a 30-year mortgage on a commercial. I'm not talking about investment property for rental, right? I'm
very well
about,
aware.
Yeah, commercial
Yeah.
stuff.
Mine are all 5 to 10 years.
Correct. And so if there's a 5-year reset and you're at 3% and it resets at whatever, that becomes a little expensive. But you're smart and you've been paying down your principal, so it doesn't really impact you. For those who have not paid their principal down as much, it could impact you. I think nationwide, to your point, locally,
It's a different market.
it's locally just the same with multifamily, right? Nationwide, multifamily's on the downturn. We're overbuilding. You don't have that in this marketplace.
You just don't have that.
We do not have it in this market.
And I want to highlight this.
What is all real estate?
I mean, it's local.
There you go.
I want to highlight this to the viewers and listeners that are asking. I don't think the real estate residential investors are going to be positioning their holdings on the market for sale. The rents are just escalating too much.
Well, that goes back to why we won't have a bubble,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's a unique market. There's multiple.
We don't have enough inventory. We have people moving here.
So we've got this pressure, or people moving here. Salaries are increasing.
Yeah.
We'll find out here pretty quickly
In April.
In April, what the AMI is. They've changed the way they do that formula, by the way. There's going to be an interesting show in April to talk about that. They've actually retooled the formula, so we'll see what actually comes out. Don't know much about it other than some quick reading I was doing this morning about the way HUD is going to reset its AMI. But we've got this pool. We've got this 20 feet of water. But we've got stuff that I've been doing this for a long time that we've never seen before. I've never seen before. This 2%.
People are getting off those now, though.
They're starting to get off of them,
Yeah.
right? They are, right? because why are they getting off of them? Because life changes. And
Well,
what's happening is they're
not just life changes. A lot of the folks that have the 2%, 3%, 4% mortgage rates that secured during the beginning of COVID realize they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in their house.
The average person in the United States has $300,000 worth of equity in their home.
And it's starting to get to the point where, like, you can take the equity from your current house, buy a second house, and get yourself a piece of debt that's relatively in the neighborhood of your current home, and you got a potential upgrade.
So you're adding another list. So let's bullet point them, right? One is 2%. Two is me. The boomers aren't moving. They are not moving. And part of the problem was that when we built our houses 20, 30 years ago, we put primaries on the main level. They're not
Primaries on the main level, a home you should purchase.
absolutely. Because you want old people. So there's primary on the main level, right? So that's not impacting it. Third is, I've highlighted this before, when I did the acres at Lake Monticello, it took me 6 months to go through rezoning, site plan, EPA, DEQ, and put a bulldozer on the job site. It now takes anywhere between 3 to 6, maybe even more than that, years to actually put something on that. So the runway is much longer. You can't even say, okay, here's the right piece of property, here's the right zoning, let's go ahead and do that. There's a couple of projects in Greene County that are by right that are just taking forever to get out of the ground because of process, right? So that's number 3. So if we just stayed at that, right, it just puts so much pressure on the market because we're just not getting enough inventory.
Keep going. Dropping dimes.
That was dimes, quarters. Who uses a dime anymore? Where's the closest payphone? That would be.
I don't
great.
think. Where is the closest payphone?
I don't know. I bet you there's one in. I bet you there's one in the police station.
Oh, definitely. There's one in the police station.
So that's close enough to us.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever been there before.
Is
With
that the
handcuffs.
only payphone in city
Oh,
limits?
I don't know.
The one
I'm
in
just-
the police
I'm
station.
I'm just guessing.
What's the only? We asked this question yesterday on the I Love Seville show. Can you name one locally owned business that has a drive-through?
Oh wow!
Not big box,
It used to be Bodo's.
not chain. Yep, that was during COVID. That's not there anymore. Name a
Well, before
locally owned.
even, but even before that, I think the Emmett Street had a drive-through. I mean, way 10, 15 years ago.
I don't know about that.
I remember.
Oh,
went-
it did. You're talking the 29. Yes, it did. At
on
one
Emmett.
time. They closed that.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was like in the initial startup.
They use that as employee and parking. Current locally owned business that has a drive-through. Judah, we came up with a one yesterday, didn't we?
Current. Wow. So it's not like a Chick-fil-A or anything like that. This needs
Yeah.
to be a.
Locally owned business.
Wow. I don't know.
Any viewers and listeners, do you know? Judah, 3-shot you or weave you in?
I can tell you in Greene County because I was there the other day. The coffee place.
It's closed.
Oh, really?
Neil Williamson made that suggestion. Was it Murph's?
Murphy's or something.
Murphy's. It's
Oh,
closed.
that was about 6 months ago. I did it.
Murphy's is closed. He highlighted that yesterday. That is no longer an option because it is closed. 3-shot Judah. What was the one we came up with yesterday?
The one that somebody came up with yesterday was what is it? It's not Brew Through. It's Brews on High.
Oh, no, it's Future Coffee on High Street. It used to be Brews on High, the one by the old Martha Jefferson and CFA.
And that brings up
Future Coffee.
It's funny. Well, I've never. This is such a coffee town. I've never, like out in Seattle and Portland, like in the corner of every parking lot, is these little huts, the little coffee drive-through huts that people pick up their cup of coffee. I've often wondered why one isn't here. By the way, does anybody remember Photo Hut?
Photo Hut?
Yeah, that was maybe a New York thing. There was like back in the day before digital cameras, you would go into this little booth on the side of a parking lot, drop in your 35 mil of film or whatever, and you'd come back a week later and get your pictures.
Photo Hut. I like that.
That's-
Judah nods his head in agreement there.
That was
Comments
the
are coming in quickly.
1800s or something like that.
Yeah.
th-
There was usually somebody in one of those, right?
Yeah, there was somebody in it. That's
Yeah.
right. You would go in there and you would go ahead and do that. The only place I know that has a little coffee hut kind of thing is at the town of Orange. You drive through Orange, when Yona and I go up north, we sip in there, grab a cup of coffee. There's like a little trailer kind of thing, and you get yourself a cappuccino.
Catherine watching the program, she says, Jerry and Keith, I love the show. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
She says, thank you for the information when it comes to real estate. This question for Keith, does he expect e-inventory to uptick, or are we at the levels right now that we're going to get? Olivia Branch, welcome to the broadcast. Lori Fincham, welcome to the broadcast. Randy O'Neill, welcome to the show.
So the inventory uptick that we're seeing right now, we kind of need to put it in perspective, right?
Because we've seen a little bit of uptick.
We have. I think we're kind of more in the traditional.
Micah's Coffee, someone put it on the feed. Keep going, Keith.
So we're seeing a little bit more of an uptick, but that uptick kind of started on January 1 on it. But I think when we hit June and July, we're going to really find out where the market is. And are we going to hit a summer low? The reality of it is there's way more buyers than inventory. So any uptick is a good thing. But look, guys, it may be upticking, right? But it's got to hit these 6 things, right? It's got to be in the right location. It's got to be the right price. Got to be the right features. Got to be the right condition. Condition matters now more than anything, because particularly at 7%, people are not spending money to go ahead and renovate their houses or update their homes. So if you want to put your house on the market, it's the best thing to do right now is update it. Call ISC. They'll get you updated. If you need a new roof, get a new roof, HVAC, etc. on that. Timing is everything, and I think that's what we're talking about right now, which is number 5. And then, who's on the other side does matter. The pros involved in the transaction does matter and makes transaction smooth.
Bill says there used to be a photo mat on Ivy Road. Rob Neal dropping
What
this
year
comment.
was that, Bill? I don't remember. Is that had to have been before 87 or was it after 87?
I've been here since 2000, and I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
I've been
one
here
in
almost
87.
24 years. 24 years in August. Rob Neal says this. This is a great comment from Rob Neal. Average people in this area are approaching or surpassed learning about cap gains tax on the sale of primary residence for the first time due to value escalations locally. To move and stay local, the new purchase has increased in value like your sold asset, reducing spendable cash by 20% beyond the cap plus closing costs plus double interest rate. This will keep many people in their current homes, which that was not the case previously here.
So that's bullet point number 4. So let me see if we can simplify that a little bit, and thank you. That's exactly the 4th bullet I was looking for. Just couldn't put it together real quickly. What's happening is because you have such gains on it, you run the risk of, and that's ordinary income, right? If it's your primary residence and less, on the 1031 rule, if it's over 250 for a single or 500. Most people, there are some people now that are going to walk away with more than that, right? So, you need to really hire a trusted advisor, have a sit down with, start it with a real estate agent and sit down and say, okay, well, this is what you owe, right? And most people are uncomfortable about telling you what they owe on their home.
Why's that?
They're just uncomfortable.
I mean, a good realtor could pretty much project what you owe on.
Oh yeah, in 5 minutes I can.
I could project it and
sure.
what people owe on their homes.
Yeah, that's all public record.
Yeah.
But usually,
and there are websites that do the work for you.
It's usually an uncomfortable conversation. Some people are uncomfortable with it, some not. But the best way we can help you is full transparency, right? So how much you owe on the home? Do you want to pay off credit card debts or whatever, that kind of thing. This is what the market is telling us, and here's the delta between the two. Okay, guys, you're well within the range. We're good. Let's move forward. No, we're out of it. And my first question usually is who does your taxes for you? Do you have a CPA? Do you have a trusted advisor from an accounting perspective? Because I'm surely don't even play one on television on that end of it. And then we go, okay, well, time out. Let's put this in a pause for a moment, and let's go talk to your trusted advisor, the CPA, and say, okay, if I do this transaction and I buy this house and so forth and so on, what does that do to me? What does that do to my tax liability? But that's bullet point number 4, right? And some people, particularly in these upper price ranges, right, that when when they got like $1 million worth of equity sitting there, that needs to be artfully
managed.
right?
Yeah.
To go through that. Good point. Thank you, sir.
Rob, in the tax game, strong comment right there.
Thank you, Rob.
The old Richmond Cameras building next to 7-Eleven. The old Richmond Cameras.
Oh yeah. So it's now a hoagie or sandwich shop, I think, isn't it?
Where is that?
So as you come
You're
up,
talking on High Street?
yeah, and then you pass the foot-long hot dog place,
Jack and Jill's?
and then you make right on that corner. You would either go straight or you would make a left to go back towards Beer Run. Not that it's about alcohol, but you would go back to Beer Run that way. It's right on the corner. It used to be I think it's Tubby's now.
Yeah, Tubby's, Jack and Jill's over there.
It used to be Richmond Camera.
I do remember Richmond
And
Camera.
they had
that building's been empty for a while, and it's been remodeled. It's a great location.
It's a great
That's a
location.
parking spot. Bill McChesney says there was a place called Lupo's on Emmett Street that had a drive-through.
Yeah,
He
but
said Ultimate Bliss on Angus Road has a drive-through, but they're not current. They're not currently active drive-throughs. The only drive-through that I can think of in Charlottesville or Albemarle County is the Future Coffee on High Street. The old Brews on High.
that's right.
I mean, think about it. That was the old Wells Fargo building. Locally owned drive-throughs in Charlottesville or Albemarle County.
Across from the old Martha Jeff.
The CFA right now
The CFA right
is
now,
what's in
yeah.
that one right there. Keith Smith, you have more comments coming in for you here.
Thank you, sir.
This is a very good one here from Spencer. He says if the rates aren't cut, does he see any change in what happens in the next 6 months? Or are we all waiting till the end of the election? I mean, can we now say that it's a Biden-Trump race for president?
Apparently,
Yeah.
based on the news thing that went at 10 o'clock.
Nikki Haley's out.
So election years are always goofy years in the real estate. I just think at the end of the day, there's enough buyers out there that are ready, willing, and able to buy, have the capability to buy, either have the cash and or have the thing. I won't steal his thunder, but one of our partners just put something on the market in one day in the Pantops area, right? It turned around pretty quickly. Again, if you're in the right price, right location, price, features, and condition, you will sell it. And it'll sell, maybe not in minutes, maybe not in days, but it'll sell in a normal track of time.
Logan Wells Claylo says the Ivy Road photo hut, I believe, was called Snappies.
Logan, look at you. That is, I want to give Logan a shout out.
Logan's
Logan
the best.
is one of my favorite people in the world. Always enjoy every conversation with her. She's wonderful.
Logan Wells Claylo, we certainly appreciate you. Friday show, big time, Keith.
Yeah, so Friday we've got 2 Albemarle County Board of Supervisors coming in. This was a little bit of a prelude to that, kind of talking a little bit about Albemarle County numbers. I've got an additional 9 slides that we'll push out before the show comes out, but we're going to talk to Diantha McKeel, and Diantha likes to chat about transportation, so if you've got some transportation questions, kind of tee them up for us or queue them up for us. Ned will talk about housing. He sits on the Regional Housing Partnership. He actually chairs it with me, and so we'll talk about housing and maybe some new developer incentives that's formally kind of out there, and see if we can start getting this ratchet turned up a little bit.
Jessica watching the program. Great show today, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Jessica,
much. Thank
for
you.
giving
Thank
us
you.
that props
Some of
today.
our best shows are minimally prepared shows, and we just have a lot of fun.
Comments are
until-
flying. Friday, Diantha McKeel, Albemarle County Supervisor. Ned Galloway, Albemarle County Supervisor, in the house, in the studio on Real Talk with Keith Smith. The show archived on realtalkwithkeithsmith.com.
And next Friday, I'm working on a Greene County roundtable, so we'll keep everybody posted for next Wednesday. But we should because we're going through each jurisdiction. I've got to get Jesse in here and
Jesse Rutherford,
and one
watching
other
the show.
Board of Supervisor in here to talk what's going on with that. And I'm trying to get a couple of Louisa County folks to come in, but they've had a kind of a new seats shift around, so it takes a little bit of work. to get
Yes
into
Realty Partners, a name you can trust. Yes Realty Partners, Keith and Jonas Smith's firm. They will move mountains for you. Judah Wickower, the director of the I Love Seville show, up in approximately 1 hour and 14 minutes. Thank you for joining us on Real Talk with Keith
crystal
Smith.
balls.
A show that was on fire today. So long, everybody.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that.